Hey, Tom Water. I hope you're still continuing and doing the Bible study. Here today, I asked you to read Romans 5:1 through 19, and just think about it and to meditate on it. And I love this chapter. Um, so one of the questions was, what do you think of the progression Paul uses in verses 7 through 9? Verses 7, I'll just start at verse 6. It says, for while we were still weak, at the right time Christ died for the ungodly. For one will scarcely die for a righteous person, though perhaps for a good person one would dare even to die. But God shows his love for us, and that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. And just to think that, barely anyone is going to, die for a righteous person. Maybe someone would die and sacrifice themselves for a good person. But then here he says at the end that God, while we were still bad people, sinners, he died for us. And it just shows just how far his love for us, stretches and goes. That while we were at our weakest and at our worst, Jesus came and died for us. And I thought, just you have this passage here, and then you have that chapter that we read yesterday in Genesis chapter 3. And I thought something was really just a neat comparison, is that Adam blamed Eve blamed the snake for her sin. Adam blamed Eve and God for the sin he committed. And so here they are trying to blame shift and pass the responsibility onto someone else. And then what do we see? What Jesus does is, here in this chapter, we see that Jesus is like, I will take responsibility for your sin. I will do what no one else could do. He doesn't pass the blame, but he takes it for us. And so I thought this was just a really cool way of getting our minds to start thinking about what Jesus does for us and what he did for us on the cross, is that he took responsibility for something no one else, could do. He took responsibility for that, to die for not the best and the righteous, but to die for sinners such as you and me. And so I hope you're going to continue with it. Tomorrow we'll be looking at Exodus 12:1 through 28, and this formation of the Passover. So have a good night.